So thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. It gives me great pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Guzik, Dr. David Guzik, our chancellor here at LSU, who's now been here over 400 days. I think he'll tell you exactly how many. But to come to the microphone and tell us a little bit more about his vision for research. Dr. Guzik.
Thank you, Dr. Kevel. It's great to see everyone here today. When this event occurred a year ago, I was only here for a month, so I didn't really know a lot of you, and I wasn't that familiar with the research program. And at that time, I expressed my view that I was extremely optimistic about the future of research here at LSU Health Shreveport. And all I can say is now that it is a year and a month later, I actually feel that I'm even more confident than I was at that time. Under Dr. Kevel's leadership, there's been a tremendous growth in the research enterprise. And for example, in the last fiscal year, there's been a 25% increase. Now, we won't sit here or stand here and say, gee, we're going to have 25% year in, year out. But it just reflects the momentum that's been created. And I'm confident that that will continue. The strategy is to support the faculty who are here, to continue to do the science and do more of it and be more productive. In addition, we're interested in developing junior faculty. We're interested in recruiting from outside the institution individuals who have had substantial scientific careers. And finally, we're interested in developing new areas. The one that I held out a year ago that we're about to truly implement is to take advantage of the BSL-3 laboratory that is about to open in the Center for Medical Education. And the director of that laboratory, who is recruited from Galveston, will be here very shortly, the next month or so. In terms of supporting the existing faculty, we put into place an intramural grant for individuals who have one award who are going to apply for an additional NIH award. And I just checked the NIH reporter prior to coming here. And last year when I stood here, I counted, if I recall, only 3 individuals that had more than one NIH grant, and now I count 9. So that's another example of, let's have a hand for all those people. In addition, through the COBRE programs, we have the opportunity for junior investigators to become independent investigators, and we have recruited new faculty to the institution, and there are more on the horizon. So all told, we have a lot to be proud of in terms of what we've accomplished in this past year, and the best is yet to come. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Guzik, for those words. And in fact, I'd like to recognize and acknowledge Dr. Guzik's leadership. For those of you that don't know, when he came to our campus, in fact, several of the conversations he and I had, he really said that he wanted to do things to catalyze and stimulate research. And so we now have 2 Chancellor's Award mechanisms. One of them is called the AIM High Award, which directly catalyzes NIH-funded investigators to go after the second NIH grant, and then the Chancellor's Pathways Award, which also helps investigators who are really close to getting that NIH funding, but gives them the extra push to get over the edge to actually do that. So the slide that you see up here in front of you illustrates the research funding that Dr. Guzik was just referring to. As you can see, at the end of fiscal year 23, we had achieved a all-time high of $23 million in funds coming to our institution. This represents NIH funding, Department of Defense funding, American Heart funding. As many of you know, we are a well-diversified institution there, but I have a lot of room to grow. The other thing that I'm really excited to tell you in the big yellow box there is where we're at so far this year. We're at $20.8 million. So we're on par to eclipse the number where we were last year. And as Dr. Guzik mentioned earlier, looking forward to growing even more. I'd like to also share with you some of the advancements in technology transfer. So many of you here in this room will recognize that when we make fundamental discoveries, it really does no good to humanity to let them just sit there on the shelf or sit published in a textbook or a journal somewhere. We have to implement them. So here at LSU Health Shreveport, we also have a very engaged and forward-thinking technology transfer program. And I won't read the numbers to you here. You can read that on your own. But you can see that there were several different disclosures, many patents that were filed, and many that were actually issued, both in the United States as well as international patents. Licensing income is really crucial from these technologies because that helps not only continue the work of tech transfer, but also can help facilitate new research and the research that's been discovered and patented in individuals' labs to go on and do other things. The other thing that we're very excited to collaborate with is with the Startup Prize family. I didn't see him here tonight, but Mr. Gregory Kallenberg with the Startup Prize and our institution have collaborated very closely with Startup Prize Focus on Health. Again, thank you to both Dr. Guzik as well as Mr. Kevin Flood at the LSU Health Science Center Foundation to be very supportive of this collaborative engagement. It's really important to recognize the scope and the breadth of the research that we have here on campus. One of the things that I'll point out to you, the top 6 are our centers, excellent for arthritis and rheumatology, Cancer Center, Center for Brain Health and Cardiovascular Disease and others. But the ones on the bottom row are some of the ones that I'm most excited about. And these are our centers of biomedical research excellence that are funded by NIH. These are extramural dollars that are coming to the institution, as Dr. Guzik mentioned a moment ago, through these COBRA grants to catalyze faculty to develop new and exciting ideas that can go and get additional funds from NIH. And then lastly, the thing that I'm really excited to share with you here are some of the updates regarding clinical research. We recognize here at LSU Health, we provide a very unique opportunity to our citizens and everyone in the community to be able to provide clinical research. What many don't realize is that we were only one of 2 sites in the state of Louisiana that was doing the Pfizer vaccine trial. That was a fantastic opportunity for the institution as well as the citizens here in the region, because once that was approved, everyone here that had been running the trial knew how to administer the vaccine. So we can now get it to citizens and people in the state very quickly. And as you can see here is a bar graph. This is the only piece of data I promise I will show you tonight. But the reason why I'm showing you this data, I'm really excited to say we are the leading site for a major clinical trial regarding Parkinson's disease. It's actually sponsored through the Michael J. Fox Foundation called the Black PD trial. And this trial aims to identify genetic indicators or genetic reasons for Parkinson's disease that are not typically associated or investigated in, say, for example, Caucasian individuals. We are top, and you can see here there are other very fantastic institutions that we're ahead of, and in fact, it's really a clear testament. One of the other things that you see here is that we have over 700 subjects on different trials or in different trials, and more importantly, we're very proud of the high rate of diversity of people enrolled in these trials. Over 44% of the actual participants enrolled in the trial are of a diverse background. For those of you who don't know, and maybe you haven't spoken to other universities, they would give anything to have those kinds of numbers. So we're really, truly making a big impact, not only locally here in the community, but also nationwide. So with that, I'll come to the last slide. These are areas that allow us now to engage in collaborative endeavors with other universities. So, for example, with the Ochsner Health System down in New Orleans, through our partnership in the hospital, we're able to really engage very closely in the ReachNet operation, as well as other organizations such as LSU, which has really been focusing on COVID lately, as well as Congenital and Perinatal Infections Consortium, and then also, very importantly, other members of the LSU system, in particular LCATS, which is ran out of the Pennington Biomedical Research Center.
This year's Excellence in Extramural Funding Award recipient Dr. Chen Kwang Jong stays very busy as a professor, vice chair of research, and director of the Institute for Cerebral, Vascular, and Neurodegeneration Research in the Department of Neurology. Supported by funding from the National Institutes of Health and the American Heart Association, the overall goal of Dr. Zhang's lab is to advance non-invasive therapeutic approaches for safeguarding the brain against neurodegenerative conditions, particularly Alzheimer's disease, dementia, and various neurological and psychiatric disorders. In May 2023, Dr. Zhang received a multi-PI R01 grant from the NIH National Institute on Aging to study photobiomodulation in alleviating brain hyperfusion in Alzheimer's disease. Just last week, Dr. Zhang received a new five-year, $3.6 million R01 grant from NIH National Institute on Aging, for which he serves as a principal investigator. Please join me in congratulating our 2024 Excellence in Extramural Funding Award recipient, Dr. Zhang.
Next, we have our Excellence in Translational Research Award. If you have attended a community health fair anywhere probably in North Louisiana in the past year, you probably have seen a very familiar face in this year's award recipient. This time last year, as Dr. Kevel was talking about earlier, we had announced that we started a partnership with the Michael J. Fox Foundation to participate in the Black PD study. And a year later, we're the #1 site for enrolling patients in that in the country, and have been able to do that through reaching out in our communities, going to health fairs, meeting people where they're at, and that is why this has been so successful. And it is also the highest monthly enrollment average, which is 17.3, and the others were around 2 to 3 participants a month. So very good that we can tout 17 over 2 to 3 a month. The success of that study and what it's doing and how it is touching on a very important part of research that we are lacking in, which is diversity, and using more diverse data when looking at what's next, how to prevent diseases, how to treat them, and that is a testament to the hard work of this award recipient. So I'm very happy to present this award to Dr. Elizabeth Disbrow.
It's both an honor and a privilege to stand before you today and recognize and celebrate an achievement in research innovation. Tonight, we present the LSUHS Innovation Award to Dr. Ricky DeBenedetti for his innovative work in targeting the TLK-NEK1 axis in prostate cancer. This research marks a major advancement in androgen deprivation therapy, presenting a hopeful new treatment option for over 200 men diagnosed with prostate cancer annually in the United States alone. In closing, I'd like to thank you, Dr. DeBenedetti, for your research work. Your efforts to turn theoretical concepts into tangible solutions is no small feat and truly admired. Your innovation reflects the mission of LSU Health Shreveport's Office for Research to teach, heal, and discover. On behalf of LSU Health Shreveport, Dr. DeBenedetti, we offer our profound congratulations.
The recipient of this year's Research Rising Star Award has had many successes in the past year that make her certainly most deserving of this. She joined the LSU Health Shreveport faculty in 2019 as an assistant professor in the Department of Cell Biology and Anatomy. Her expertise is in neuroscience with a particular focus on brain injury and neurodegeneration. Her work has resulted in multiple talks and presentations, independent grant awards, including a recent NIH R01, and publications in top peer-reviewed journals. Last year, she was awarded her first R01 from NIH's National Institutes of Neurological Disorders and Stroke, which is a significant accomplishment for an investigator in the very early stages of her career. Even in the middle of a pandemic, by the way, which is a huge accomplishment. This is a 5-year grant totaling over $1.8 million. More importantly, she hasn't stopped there. She's actually continued to go. and move to new heights, as she's a recent recipient of an intramural grant that is, as you heard earlier, to support investigators to go after additional NIH funding, and is actually one of this year's Chancellor's Aim High Research awardees. It is my pleasure to recognize Dr. Krista Rogers in the Department of Cell Biology and Anatomy. So we come to the next part of our presentation here, where we recognize the efforts and the service and all the wonderful things that many of our faculty have done over the years. Unfortunately, this evening, Dr. Sushil Jain was not able to be with us, but as you can see, Dr. Jain has been with us here at LSU Health for quite some time. In fact, Dr. Jain originally began his research career at LSU Health Shreveport over 42 years ago. He was one of the first investigators to make pivotal contributions and insight to the role of oxidative stress during diabetes. In fact, one of the things that he has consistently investigated throughout his career is impacts of endocrine dysfunction involving diabetes as well as other endocrine diseases, and recognized that metabolism is a crucial part of this, in addition to inflammatory states that contribute to this.
It was a unanimous decision to honor this year's recipient for the Community Champion Award. His commitment to our community and his devotion to its success is well known to many of us. He currently serves on the board of the LSU Health Foundation in Shreveport as the chair of the governance committee, and has been a longtime supporter and champion of our Health Science Center and what it means to our community. To know Mr. Raspberry is to love Mr. Raspberry. I have had the great fortune to spend some significant time with him over the last several years. I was born and raised in Shreveport, yet I have learned so much about the history of our community and of our city from him. He always has a great story and can tell you the history behind most events and most specific periods of time in our city. He and his wife, Kathy, are delightful, as well as their son, Clinton, their daughter-in-law, Olivia, and their new grandbaby, Vivian Ruth. If you want a fascinating theory or a philosophy of life, I encourage you to ask him about his TR theory or his TR calculation. TR stands for time remaining. It's relatively quite scientific. It truly makes you think about how you are spending your time. I know I have begun to think about that after learning about his theory. I can assure you, though, Mr. Raspberry is going to make the most out of his TR. It was announced at the recent unveiling of our new Center for Medical Education that he and his family have generously given a $2 million gift to establish the Raspberry Family Endowed Lecture Series, which will be hosted in the building's most appropriately named William Clinton Raspberry Jr. Auditorium. It is my honor and privilege to present Mr. Bubba with this year's Office of Research Community Champion Award.
When I was thinking about this, when Suzanne brought this up to me, it occurred to me that there's always a leading edge to any sustained enterprise. Research is the leading edge of the practice of medicine. Think about the definitions of those words. The researcher sometimes becomes a practitioner, but more than likely, they continue their research for others to practice on their thoughts and their effort. And I commend those people. They're special. They're unusual. They have taken their God-given talent. They have availed themselves of educational opportunities, many times afforded them by others. And it's a joy to be an other in that department. Research is obviously essential and deserves the support of all of us. I'm excited to hopefully excite others to support those of you in this room. It's unimaginable to a pedestrian like me what minds like yours may do for mankind. I applaud you for that. I'm humbled to be amongst you. My research exposure is to my sock drawer, and whether it's going to be a brown one or a gray one or a blue one, and it's confined to maybe 26 opportunities. With that, it's a marvelous thing to be here with you, and I will always be a supporter. Thank you.
So with all of these accomplishments, we're not stopping here. We're actually getting ready to go to the next level, to the next phase. And in fact, as you heard Dr. Guzik earlier, we're really on a good trajectory to really hit a new plateau, or as they say in the racing parlance, another gear. And in fact, this slide here is meant to illustrate to you some of the more recent things that have just happened. Is that as of 48 hours ago, Dr. Vancheri and myself received word from the National Defense Medical Readiness Entity that is called NCD-MPH, that's quite a mouthful, that is actually supported by a conglomerate of other organizations, including the Department of Defense, the Defense Health Agency, the CDC, to become a member of the Joint Disaster Medical and Public Health Research ecosystem. To give you some perspective about what this means, there are only 5 of these sites in the United States, ladies and gentlemen. So the other 5 sites that we are now part of is the University of California system that's housed in Sacramento, the University of Colorado system that's up in Denver, the University of Texas system in San Antonio, the University of Nebraska in Omaha, their medical center there, and then also the Uniformed Services University in Washington, D.C. We're now the 6th. This is an incredible accomplishment, and it's a direct testament to the work that everyone here in this audience has done, and many others will continue to do. In addition, I'm also excited to recognize tonight Dr. Coey Cohorn, one of our more recent faculty that we've recruited to the School of Allied Health. Super excited for his Cooperative Research and Development Agreement, otherwise known as a CRADA, with the Air Force Global Strike Command, that will look at the physiological and psychological impacts of missions of our air servicemen and women flying B-52s across the world. Likewise, we're also excited to announce that the Cardiovascular Center, in particular Dr. Karen Stokes, has been chosen as the latest recipient for the American Heart Association SURE Scholar Program. As many of you may recall, the Cardiovascular Center has had the Curious program that's focused on research opportunities for underrepresented students and given them an opportunity to learn biomedical research and medical sciences and medical school. The American Heart Association saw the success of what was done in that Curious program and recognized that and added their seal of approval along with money to expand the number of slots of students that can actually come here to our campus. So now the Cardiovascular Center has both the Curious program and the American Heart Sure program to really, truly elevate research training for underrepresented individuals. And then the one that we're really excited about, and maybe it's a little premature to say anything because this will get you to come back next year and find out the outcome, is our 3rd active COBRA that was recently submitted by Dr. Wayne Orr and in conjunction with Dr. John Vancheri and others that will focus very uniquely on translational research and experimental therapeutics. This will be the first of its kind here at our institution and will really truly represent a transition of our research from bench research, or wet lab research as we call it, to a more clinical and translational approach. So the future is definitely indeed bright. But the next slide is the one that gets me really excited, and the one that everybody here is invited to go see after we're done here. And as you can see, this is the new BSL-3 laboratory that we have in the new Center for Medical Education that's slated to open, yes, in another 2 to 3 weeks, March 2024. So with that, the last slide is to thank you, because without your support For example, Mr. Raspberry, members of the LSU Health Science Center Foundation, our legislative delegates, our distinguished people in the community, and actually the students and the faculty and the leaders. We wouldn't be here. Thank you all for coming.